versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Culture Boys. It's Nick and
Patrick.
Woo! We're back, baby. This month we did Moonstruck versus My Cousin Vinny. If you haven't listened to it, you should go listen to it now. Our category was like cozy movies for the holidays that don't involve holidays, something like that.
But do involve Italian Americans.
Exactly, Italian cozy. So we're recording this the day after Halloween. I want to talk about costumes for a second, but first, on the lead up to Halloween, I had never seen Halloween the movie, John Carpenter's Halloween, and I had a long time ago seen Nightmare on Elm Street, but Alice had never seen either of them and wanted to watch them. So we watched Nightmare on Elm Street, which is like the weirdest, campiest, like it's such a strange movie. And I was like, yes, this is how I consider all horror movies of that age. But then I watched Halloween and it's like a fucking great movie.
A great movie in the sense that like it takes itself very seriously and is like,
yeah, it's like it's a movie that feels like I'm showing you a story that is, like you said, the characters are serious and real people and they have inner lives, and it's like really it's truly scary, I would say. Whereas I think that Nightmare on Elm Street, it's more just like campy fun, sort of like gory, messy, weird.
yeah. So I've never seen either movie in their entirety. I've never seen any of Nightmare on Elm Street. I've tried Halloween when I was like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Was hanging out with friends, including a girl that I liked, and it was around Halloween, so they're like, let's watch a scary movie. Let's put on Halloween. It was the middle of the afternoon. It wasn't like dark outside.
Yeah.
And we got maybe 15 minutes in, and I was so frightened by it, and I made them turn it off. Just the tension of the movie just like rattled me. We turned it off and we watched Diary of a Mad Black Woman instead.
Nice.
But I just remember the suspense being, I never liked scary movies, and I've, grown to like realize that I appreciate them and should watch them, and they can be really fun. But I think Halloween was just like the epitome of what gave me dread about them, where it was like felt kind of realistic and was also just built on building tension and making you think that something terrible or terrifying is going to happen at any moment, and just like jump scares, just like ugh.
I will say there's really not a whole lot of like jump scares in it, but that tension building is through the whole thing. It's like there's only like maybe 15 to 20 minutes of the movie where there's actually like action happening, of something bad is like happening and people running away from stuff and it being like a killer or whatever. The rest of it is all just like, did you see that guy over there? That was weird, wasn't it? And it's just like slowly stretching out and building this thing of this person like slowly stalking this group. Yeah, it's very weird. Ooh.
How'd you do with it live? Because as I think, when we've watched movies together that are a little scary or have some tension, I feel like it gets big reactions out of you.
It was interesting. So Nightmare on Elm Street, I had none because I had seen it before, so I kind of knew it was coming. But also, I forgot where I read it, but there's like different levels of horror. It's like maybe a Stephen King thing where there is... I think it's like horror or disgust is one aspect, where it's just like you're so grossed out by what you see on the screen that it is classified as like horror, like you're horrified by what you're seeing. And I feel like Nightmare on Elm Street fell into that, and I was just like, this is campy and strange. Like it's just, a fountain of blood or whatever. Okay, it's fine, it's weird. However, the dread in Halloween really got to me, but I also like I said, it doesn't really have a whole lot of jump scares. So I wasn't like screaming a lot. I was just sort of like, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting about Nightmare on Elm Street, though, because I think I knew that the series gets really campy as those Friday the 13th do. I think I, though, thought more that the initial 1 or 2 movies, were pretty like serious, and then like over time they really like leaned into the camp. So it's interesting to hear that it's just like from the get-go.
From the get-go, it's just campy. There are some spooky parts of it of like, ooh, that's like yeesh, yuck, or like weird. But I think I was talking to Alice about this, friend of the pod, previous guest. But the thing for me, why I'm not really scared by Nightmare on Elm Street, is that Freddy Krueger is more human than Michael Myers, who's the Halloween killer. Even though he's like a dream demon, because he's just like a guy who likes killing people, and he's like, and he's kind of like, spooky in that way, but also he has a clear motivation. Like maybe he can't be reasoned with, but it's just because he's like a weirdo. And it's like, to me, that's not scary. To me, what's scary is like the kind of slow, unstoppable, and unreasonable pursuit of the Shape, which is Michael Myers. Like he, even though he is human, he feels very much just like the embodiment of something that is just like slowly coming towards you. That's why I think ghosts are really scary, because ghosts, it's like, this shouldn't be happening. Is it me? Is it you? Like, why am I seeing a ghost? But also it's like, you can't reason with a ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with Halloween, where nothing they do really can dissuade, even when they like shoot him, is he's like slowly like gets up and like keeps going. And it's sort of this kind of inhumanness, whereas Freddy Krueger is just sort of like a weirdo guy. And it's like, yeah, and in a way they kind of do reason with him sometimes. They're like, you're not scary to me anymore, Freddy. And then it's like, oh, you figured it out. You figured out the way to get around Freddy Krueger. Whereas Michael Myers, it's just like, there's no reasoning. There's nothing, like, you can stop him physically if you can, but he's super strong and he just kind of keeps going forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's just this like, yeah. I kind of the more like, not existential horror, but I kind of just like elemental horror. Yeah. Yeah.
There's also no reason for it to happen. Like the thing about Halloween is that even like he kills as a little boy, like 6 years old or 10 years old or something, he kills his sister. And it very much is like, there's no reason for that to happen. He just like did it one day. And then again, it's like he's been in this sanatorium or whatever for like 16 years. And then he breaks out one night and he's gonna go kill again. And there's no reasoning behind it. You know what I mean? There's no thing. Whereas Freddy Krueger, it's like, I want to get back at the people who burned me up. So I'm gonna kill the kids.
They kind of deserve it a little bit.
Yeah.
Not really. But yeah, no, that is scarier. But it's hard because then they made so many Halloween movies. It's like they eventually have to like examine why, try to like come up with reasoning why. I was reading.
Yeah, I always think that that's the downfall of horror series.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this too, of like, we read a lot of horror, like Wikipedias and stuff, right? Yeah, like we're both into that. So like I read a bunch of stuff and they really go off the rails when you just have to examine them too closely. It's like a nightmare when you really think about it. It's like, no, it was super scary. I was like running through my old school and like this thing came out of the pool and was like chasing me, but it turned out to be like my dad or whatever. Yeah. It's like, that's not scary. It's just kind of weird.
Erin had a dream within the last week or so, and she was like, I don't know if it was quite a nightmare, but she was like, I was on a train with a bunch of people and we had to stop the train with our butts. I was like, what do you mean? And she like couldn't explain. She was like, we had to stop the train with our butts. Like, and I was like,
what else do you want me to say? How? It's pretty self-explanatory.
She was like, I don't really know, but we just did. And it is that kind of thing. Right? But yeah, I was going to say I've been doing exactly that, of reading Wikipedia plot summaries, partly because I've blocked most of the social media apps and websites that I normally go on my phone, well, which has been good. So I've been doing a lot of New York Times crosswords and games, and I've also been going on Letterboxd a ton because I think I still want the little dopamine of scroll, a scroll, see what people say. And so that I've been looking a lot of horror movies because people have been watching movies, and so you'll click on one and then there's all the sequels and stuff. And so it was like reading the Halloween series. I think it was like the third one, like people really didn't like because it's a completely different story, and they initially kind of conceived of it as like it's going to be like a more serialized story of terrible things happening on Halloween, but it's not the Michael Myers story.
Yeah.
But that one did so poorly, they're like, all right, we got to bring Michael Myers back. And then it's just like, but that just kind of becomes the like template for those big tentpole horror movies like Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers. Are just like, we just got to keep bringing them back somehow.
Yeah, I like anthology. Like, I'm glad the anthology series have kind of picked up in the last like 15 years, like True Detective, Fargo. There's also American Horror Story and American Crime Story and all that stuff. But I like a series that is like, this is a theme that we are exploring, and we're going to go to different things. I guess like Black Mirror and everything did that too. But I guess it just doesn't work in a movie, because then you could just make a different movie, like just name it something else. I think
it just becomes hard to sell it as, because the whole point of making a sequel is, you're trying to get people to turn out who like the first thing. But it's just like, it's strange how now everything is so franchise focused that anything can be IP now. And like they made a new Exorcist movie this year, and they apparently paid like an ungodly amount of money for the rights to the Exorcist, which is insane because like you can make a movie about exorcisms without buying the rights to the Exorcist.
Right.
And apparently the movie didn't do well. Like, it didn't get good reviews, and it's just bizarre. I feel like there's multiple like prequel. They love to do a horror prequel. There was like a Rosemary's Baby horror series prequel. There's an Omen prequel that just came out this year that's supposed to be good, but it's horror is such a funny thing because like, I guess you tie it to something because that'll get people to turn out, but it is so kind of like with The Witch last month. It's all, it's based on stories that we've been telling forever. And like, you can make it without explicitly, having to put a cameo in of some random character from 30 years ago.
And I feel like it tying whatever your story is into a pre-existing series can actually be a net negative to your film as well, because then you take on all of the expectations and baggage of the series. Like, I wonder if that Exorcist movie would have done fine or been like a middling success if it wasn't compared or placed in a series as prestigious as like The Exorcist. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, probably. And but I think it did have like a cameo from whoever, played the girl, the original one, as like I think people are, I don't know. I think maybe general movie going audiences don't care, but I feel like that stuff is kind of a turn off now where you're like, okay, gonna get the obligatory cameo to like round it out. Yeah. But speaking of The Witch, the Robert Eggers, the director, his next movie is a remake of Nosferatu.
I saw Christmas.
That. Which is funny too, because I'm pretty sure that movie, was basically a Dracula ripoff, but they didn't have the rights to call it Dracula, so they made Nosferatu. But I'm curious, I've not seen the original Nosferatu, but I think I'll probably go see this one.
Yeah, Nosferatu, like, does it have like Christian Bale or something attached to it?
The new one?
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's the guy that does all the spooky characters now. Whichever Skarsgård is Pennywise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that makes sense. Let me look. Yeah, that's definitely not.
And maybe
Bill Skarsgård.
Is Willem Dafoe? Yep. Well, of course, Willem Dafoe's in it because
I feel like Willem Dafoe is really having a moment where he is like has said yes to like 30 films, and he's like, I'm just gonna flood the zone.
I know he's constantly showing up and stuff. I'm fine with it.
Oh, we have a Depp, Lily Rose Depp.
Oh yeah, as the but yeah, I think I don't know. I'd be curious. I'd go see that one. Spooky movie
I would
to go
too.
see in theaters.
If you're into it, I would go see it. Are they shooting it in black and white? Ooh,
No,
it looks
I think
like
it's,
they are.
There's a
Or
trailer
kind of like blue tinged, maybe.
for it. Yeah, I think it's in color, but a little, color's a little off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really watch any spooky Halloween movies. I think it's tough because Aaron and I both are not horror people, so we're not like I think it helps if one person in the couple is like, hey, I want to show you that, we'll try some, easier ones to like ease into it. And I think we both come from a baseline of kind of unease. So we're like,
yeah. Yeah, like I feel that very intensely too. Like Alice and I do not watch horror movies, but she's also a completionist, and some of these movies are on like either the IMDb top 100 or this list that she has of like movies that are culturally important that she wants to see. And so we were just like, yeah, let's just hit two of them. It felt a little bit like easy mode as well because they were made in the 80s, and so it's sort of just from the time that has passed, it feels less scary. It's not like, something now where it's like you see a maggot jumping out of someone's eye or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't do that kind of stuff in the old days. But there's a series on Netflix called The Series That Made Us, or The Movies That Made Us. And it's also nice. We watched these and then immediately put on those episodes to watch how they were made, and it sort of like demystified and kind of broke the illusion a little bit. So it was like, we can leave this behind.
That is nice. I will say, given my voracious Letterboxd use over the last couple of weeks, I have noticed something that I love is that I'll see movies that I assume are movies on these lists that Alice is watching. I'll say I respect that she's such a completionist because she'll also go and give these movies like 2 stars.
Yeah,
it'll
she
be
does
like
not like them.
Yeah, like considered like a canonical classic, and Alice is like wasn't into it, and I'm like I respect the desire to like have that cultural awareness, but also like not feel pressured to like
them.
agree with the hive mind as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. She went through because if she starts a series, she likes to watch everything within the series, so that again kind of like a completionist thing. And so she watched all of the Marvel movies except for some of the more recent ones because we haven't gotten there yet. And yeah, I was like, both of us really don't have a whole lot of interest in Marvel anymore. It's like too saturated. The quality of the movie has gone down. I haven't watched anything since the first Black Panther kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she like plowed through them. She just kept watching them and being like, none of these have a story. None of these are made very well. And I'm like, why are you watching them?
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. I think I've like, I think that's crazy to me, but also I respect it a little bit because I think I worry that I feel like I get a little too precious sometimes with my time spent consuming media, and this feeling that it needs to be like valuable media consumption. Because I don't watch a ton of TV or movies right now, and so I think I'm like I want to make the most of the time I do, but I'm like also sometimes it's just nice to like at the end of a long day turn on something that you can kind of just like have on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like if I'm going to watch something, it has to be like so specific. I feel like recently I've been watching a lot more movies because I have more time, and I've been really finding myself enjoying sort of the like, I don't know even how to describe it, but like a movie for a movie's sake. It's not an important movie, but it's just like a weird, fun movie that's super specific and is completely its own thing. And like I've been really enjoying those. Like I saw Beetlejuice 2 the other day, and I was like, this movie doesn't have to exist. It doesn't want to be anything important, but it was so much fun to watch it. It was just like just a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we did watch, that was the spookiest movie we watched, was Beetlejuice 1.
Oh yeah, and you gave it like 3 stars, right?
I think 3.5 maybe.
Yeah.
Which is usually like 3.5 for me, is usually like, I appreciate like what this movie is doing. It's not 100% like for me.
Yeah.
But I think that it's like a well-made movie. And that was one, yeah, it was a fun movie. I think it suffers from this is my fault for not watching it until now for the first time.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, it's really crazy and inventive, but you're also like, you know, we're a little oversaturated with the Tim Burton aesthetic to some extent, that you're like,
yeah. For me, the thing is like, that is one of the only Tim Burton aesthetic movies that I like. I don't know why. I feel like it's just like so its own thing, whereas a lot of them are properties that he has adapted, and I guess maybe because it's about people and he doesn't often write stories about people.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the, like, someone told me once, they were like, I don't like Johnny Depp because he doesn't know how to play human beings anymore. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she I think it was, I think that what she said was he hasn't had to play like nuance in so long that he gets to play these really outlandishly large inhuman characters. Like if you think about Captain Jack Sparrow, it's like, that's not a real person. That's sort of like this weird sort of amalgamation of like tics and kind of strange things that he does. But then he plays like Willy Wonka, and he's like a big fucking weirdo in that one too. And
Right.
he plays like a vampire, and he plays, you know, like a shrub or whatever. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, I love Johnny Depp. But I guess it's true that he really doesn't play like people anymore.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I mean, but that's like, I'm like, how is that like makes sense to me? Because I'm like, he's basically not a person anymore. Just sad, but his life seems really sad. I'm like, it's incredible that massive celebrities can, you know, tune in to some frequency where they can resemble a normal human, because like most of them I feel like aren't at this point, at least if you're at the level of Johnny Depp, where you're like, I mean, I think he's got a lot going on.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on in there.
But yeah. But yeah, you watch anything else exciting, fun recently?
Alice just finished the Love is Blind most recent season. I kind of tuned in for a little bit of that, got really frustrated, and then tuned right back out of it because I was like, these people should not be together. And we are still watching Gilmore Girls. It's taken us forever. We're still working our way through. We're in season 4, towards the end of season 4, so only 3 more to go.
Damn. You said you wanted to talk about Halloween costumes at the top.
Oh yeah. So did you? I saw you guys ended up going as Fargo characters, right? The killers from Fargo.
Yes, but not. It was a little twist on Fargo because it was characters from the Fargo universe. So I went as Steve Buscemi's character from Fargo the movie, and then Aaron went as a character from season 5 of the TV show named Ole Monk. But they're kind of parallel characters. They're both in the same kind of archetype, but without spoiling anything for season 5 of Fargo, the TV show, Ole Monk is a different type of being. Although I think there's like a thing. Have you seen the movie Fargo?
Yeah, long time ago though. I need to rewatch it.
Have you seen any of the TV show? The TV show's good. Also, yeah, like anthology series. I think something that comes up a lot in the Coens brothers movies is kind of like we were talking about with Michael Myers, this idea of like the elemental evil, who's just kind of like nihilistic evil character who doesn't really seem to have motivation. So I feel like the quintessential probably in their movies is Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. A lot of times it is like a assassin hired killer type that blows in. I think in Fargo the movie, it's the other guy, not Steve Buscemi. He kind of ends up being this kind of like more, just like nihilistic evil character. But they have other movies like Raising Arizona kind of has this biker like mercenary type guy that's coming after him. I feel like Oh Brother Where Art Thou has the sheriff who's literally like the devil.
Oh God, I love that movie.
But I think this character that Aaron was from season 5 of Fargo is kind of a twist on that, I guess, to say without like giving too much away. It's worth watching. You could go into season 5 without having watched any of the other seasons because it's an anthology. But
maybe
it's
I'll just jump in. Is it something that like you really have to pay super close attention to understand, or can you just jump in and kind of have it on and be fine?
I think you can kind of have it on, but the season's a little heavy with some like domestic violence content. It's kind of like a central plot point. So it's a little heavy to just have on. But I'll say it doesn't end in like a dark, cynical place, if that helps.
Well, that's good. That'll make me feel good.
But yeah, it was honestly, it was fun to dress up. We did, I think we crushed our costumes. Not in the sense that people immediately recognized us, because I think it was slightly obscure. I think some people recognize me. Erin's character was definitely more obscure, but if you look at a picture of the character that she was, it was like spot on, because I think she found the exact coat that he was wearing in the show.
Oh, amazing.
Kind of unintentionally like bought it off Poshmark. So
that's so cool. Yeah. Did you see the post that Alice and I made of our costumes?
I did. Yeah. Jamie showed it to me last night. It was so good.
I feel like I get to just ride Alice's coattails because we'll like decide on a thing and then she kind of just does the work of making it happen, because she loves costume design and making costumes so much. And so I just got to be, we were Buster and Lucille Bluth, specifically from the scene in the new season where Lucille is smoking inside of her house, and Buster, she's like breathing the smoke into Buster's mouth so that he can blow it outside. It was really fun. I need to rewatch that series. I feel like that is a series that in the comedy scene, at least, everyone is just like, this is peak. This is so influential. This was formative for me. I think it's treated as like elevated comedy sitcom type show. I've actually not watched it in its entirety. I haven't either, Patrick. I've only watched like most of season 1 and some of like season 2.
I think the same. Yeah. I think I started it at some point and then didn't get around to finishing it. Yeah.
Maybe we can do a watch through together, and sometime soon we can start the series. Do Arrested Development book club.
Yeah. Then we also started watching Hacks recently.
Alice loves that. Do you guys watch it? Do you like it?
I don't know if I like. Aaron keeps being like, it's a thing, like it's 30-minute episodes. I'm fine to have it. It's pretty light fare. Although last episode was kind of dark and heavy, and I don't think it earned it. But it is just something, we can watch an episode before we go to bed. But Aaron's always like, I don't know if you like this show. And I'm like, I don't know if I do either. I think there's a couple things like going on, because the conceit is like a comedy writer loses her job over like a offensive tweet, or it's not even an offensive tweet, but it's like, kind of like when somebody tweets something, it's out of context, and then like right wingers go back and look through their tweet history and try to find things. Basically, she loses her job, she can't get hired, and so her agent gets her a job writing for this kind of older former like sitcom star who now is a stand-up comedian and just has a Vegas residency where she just does shows in Vegas constantly. Yeah. And is like, you know, just does the same jokes every night, but like it works for her. But she's at risk of losing her Vegas residency. So she's like, I agree. So it's kind of like this odd couple pairing. And I mean, part of the conceit of the show is that they're both like not good people, you know, they're like, they have a lot of their shit going on. So I think it's one, I think I'm brushing up against that a little bit because I'm like, I don't like either of these characters right now.
Yeah.
And then two, I think the other thing, which I have a hard time with, is because it's a show about comedy writing. Mm-hmm. And so it's just hard because there's jokes in the writing of the show, but then there's also a lot of jokes that they're talking about, or you see them performing jokes, doing stand-up, and it's getting a big laugh from the crowd. But as an audience member, you're like, oh, that wasn't that funny, really.
Yeah, Miss Maisel had some of that too, where it was just like, I don't find any of this comedy that she's doing funny at all. It's right. But it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be sort of like narrative, you know?
Yeah. So it's just I think it's similar though if you have like if you have a show or a movie about music and there's a band or a song that's supposed to be this incredible band, like there is sometimes that you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit because you're like, well, you know, this was a song written by writers for this show. If this was actually such an amazing song, it would be like it would be a big hit and stuff. So you kind of have to like, I think, yeah. So it just makes it, you know, you're like, all right.
Tell me something, girl. You're saying that isn't the biggest hit, the best song in the world?
I mean, that one crossed over. I never saw that movie. Did you?
Me neither. I'm not super into movies about sad alcoholics. It's just not like my jam. But speaking of movies that are for us, what should we do next month for our pairing?
So next month will be December, but we kind of did November.
No, December. You're right.
December. Well, I feel like last time we talked about the idea, and this might be not a pitch for December. We talked about the idea of picking two movies that neither of us had seen.
Yeah.
We could do that for December. We could also do that for New Year as like a New Year, new movie type of deal.
I feel like that would be good. New Year, new us, new movies. We'll do that.
But for December, I don't know if there's anything that kind of like has a wintry holiday type vibe.
I'm looking at our list right now. There's Whimsy that we could definitely do for like a feel good sort of December thing. We could do serial killer sagas because they're cold as ice. Are any of these like really jumping out to you? Matilda and Hunt for the Wild People is also a really lovely two movies for December, but
I don't know. I think I was not with you when White Chicks and Some Like It Hot came up. Was that?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember putting that in there either.
I think I added that at some point. I think that was also might have been our friend Jamie who came up with that one.
Oh yeah.
Which I was like,
that feels very Jamie.
I have never seen White Chicks, and I don't know how that movie holds up. It would be an interesting watch, but I don't know if it's time. I don't know if
Something Like It Hot. I did watch in the last 6 months, and it's very good. It's obviously aged quite a bit, but it's very good. I would say it's probably better than White Chicks.
I saw that one in college and really liked it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we have some good ones to choose from.
Yeah.
Which of are there any movies on here that you haven't seen that you like really want to see?
I don't think I've seen the South Korean Memories of Murder. I think I've only seen the American one, which is not very good.
Okay.
So I would definitely love to see that. I haven't seen Logan Lucky, which is in our heist category. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Good Time or Uncut Gems, but I'm not sure I'm looking to add a huge amount of stress to my life right now.
Not the most holiday feel-good movies.
We could do for workplace romance. We could do broadcast news and When Harry Met Maude. Is that workplace though?
Which When Harry Met Sally or Harold and Maude?
Harold and Maude. That's what I'm thinking about.
I don't think it's work. Does he technically work for her? I don't know that it's workplace because he's like a teenager. Not a teenager. I think he's of age. Cool. I'm kind of wondering if like I kind of like the idea of doing serial killer feel bad movies for Christmas for holiday season. I think it'll.
Do we want to do Memories of Murder and Zodiac, or do we want to change out Zodiac? Because I do like Zodiac, but I also would like to see Lady Vengeance, and that's much colder.
Yeah, I mean, we could just do
South Korean killers.
Yeah, we can do South Korean killers. I'm up for it. I rewatched Lady Vengeance. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a South Korean month.
I'm gonna watch the Lady Vengeance version where it's like black and white, or it starts in color and then fades to black and white. You know that one?
Yeah, that's the one I watched, not knowing, but I think that's the one that was, or at least at the time, it was on Tubi. I think it was on a free streaming site. I just put it on, and that's the one that came on.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to watch it. I'm very curious to get your take because it's a wild movie.
I am very interested too, because I know that I love Every Frame a Painting, and he holds Lady Vengeance up as like one of the pinnacle like vengeance movies. And I'm very excited to see it. It's also something where none of the goriness of it is on camera. It's all off screen. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, for the most, yeah. I think
there's like parts that are a little disturbing, but I think that will give our beloved listeners a little bit of an out there. All right, so then we have Memories of Murder, the Korean version, not the stupid American version with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wait, what?
Yeah, did you not know that?
Leonardo DiCaprio is in? No.
I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio and not Brad Pitt, but Matt Damon. I think it's Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio.
I had no idea.
I have to look this up.
I assumed it was just some like lower budget thing. Anyways, that's fascinating. Yeah, don't watch that one.
Yeah, let me look. 2003. No, that's... I'm pretty sure that this was... Maybe I'm thinking of a different South Korean murder movie. Maybe I was wrong. It must be another South Korean movie that got remade in America and was bad.
I'm curious what movie it is now. Not The Departed.
I'll have to figure it out and come back to it. I think it was
It's a mystery.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. It's one of like it definitely exists because it was on Every Frame a Painting, and I know that is true. He's never led me astray. I just don't think it's Memories of Murder. So
we'll have to. It'll be a mystery that we can reveal in our next episode.
If you can find out before us, send us an email. Cool. So we have our next pair. It's going to be serial killer sagas, or specifically South Korean serial killer sagas. And it'll be Memories of Murder and Lady Vengeance. We'll have those out in December. Patrick, as always, it was a pleasure.
Likewise.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.